Well, we've been seeing a run with crypto. The question is, will that run continue? I have some interesting things for you to consider as you watch this video. We're going to cover quite a few cryptos. So we have something super interesting that I want to share with you about SUI, SUI token. So we'll kick things off with that one. BTC, we'll also cover XRP, Ethereum. We also have Solana in this. And then I also want to give an update on AVAX, XVAX, I don't know what that is, AVAX as well in this video. So by the way, guys, you can check this stuff out and more over at the Discord, links in the description. So let's kick things off with SUI token, like I had mentioned before. And this is the monthly chart that we're looking at for SUI, and you can see SUI USD. So this is the SUI token for compared to USD, and it's the monthly chart. And one thing that you might find interesting is that if you start here and draw a line this way and squiggle over, come down this way, squiggle back up, and then draw like a pointy face right here and then back down, what you might find out is that you made a little slithery snake on this thing, and draw a little tongue. There we go. And if you're so inclined, you can even write the word hiss. Now, if that didn't lose me a few viewers, I'm not sure what will. But actually, all joking aside, though, there's something even more interesting than my snake drawing skills that I need you to see. And for that, we need to put these rays, not those rays, these rays up here for you. Because what we have is a symmetric triangle pattern that we're looking at right now. And if we drop down to the weekly chart, you can actually see that quite a bit better from the touches that we've had on this thing as we zigzag along. And we actually did catch an area of support down here, which allowed us to turn things around early. And then that brings us to this breakout moment that you see here, because those breakouts, even though we've hit the area of resistance to the upside on this thing, that's really where you find those areas of interest. And I think that this is something that we should be paying attention to, because when we drop down to the daily chart for this, not only did we go up into the area of resistance, but look right here. I'm going to try and make it nice and big on your screen. No more snake drawings in this video, I promise. I'm just going to not do that. Let me hit Command Z. There we go, and circle this part right here for you. Matter of fact, we'll circle it a couple times. This is called a retest, RETEST. Look at that perfect handwriting that I have. Go lefties and go writing tablet for computers. My handwriting's worse than usual, but that retest of resistance as support for this top trend line on the symmetric triangle problem that we see right here, this pattern that we see, this could be that breakout moment, especially if we're able to get up through resistance to the north side here. So that is a very good thing, a very bullish thing to see that retest of resistance as support. The next thing we need to see is the push through this area of resistance up here as well. And that can really set us off for the price target for the symmetric triangle, which happens to be not just a little bit to the north. It happens to be at $7.88 if we fill out this formation, if we can fill out this pattern to the upside. This could be the start of that rocket ship. This is an end of year 2025 number. I don't know if we make it all in this movement. We definitely could if things really go well for SUI. But in the meantime, just from the technical basis that we have, if we can break this previous top that we have over here, and I do have other technicals to put on here. So the pivots, we also have more of the rays to show, some extensions on here as well, and then also some Fibonacci retracements as well. And when you do that, we have some stumbling blocks on the way up through, such as the 487 mark that we have here. We also have a 0 and a 1 at 537. We have pretty much some confluence here between 636 and 662, and you'll notice that this area of resistance starting at 746 up to 763, just south of our price target that we have from this breakout pattern. So this could happen, could take a couple, we'll say days to weeks for this one, maybe even a couple months. If it is going to happen, it could happen within 2025, either this run, or if we get a very near-term run next, then we can watch for that. So let's look at Bitcoin to get more of a feel of the overall crypto market. And once again, no more snake drawings, no matter how tempting, I promise. And the thing that I want you to see for Bitcoin, and this is the daily chart that we're looking at when we compare Bitcoin to USD, is this consolidation pattern that we see with some lower volume, which is perfect, because that's exactly what you want to see for your consolidation patterns, is that as you do consolidate, as the battle's being fought between the bulls and the bears, which way should this thing go? You actually want to see this resistance line to the north, and you want to see the support to the south. And then the breakout, which could be happening as soon as tomorrow, should tell us, and we break out the top, we should continue upward, putting in a new all-time high for Bitcoin, even beyond this most recent high that we saw over here, right around at 123,000, that number 123,236. As per Bitstamp that I have on here. If we break down to the south on this thing, well, then we got to look out below because we could continue south. So watch for this continuation pattern to happen as we finish up this consolidation pattern here, because we could see that breakout very soon as that price is being fought over for the next near-term fate of Bitcoin, and that could be leading for what we see throughout the rest of the crypto market. It could have its echoes, its ripples. Now, if we put up Fibonacci retracements, you can see the 118,855. This is a critical Fibonacci retracement value that we should be paying attention to. Just like 123,621 was before, we fell just shy of it, and that caused us to come back down and test out some other extension levels that we have on here, such as 117,023, which proved to be important to us when we dropped down to lower time frames back here earlier in July. And you guys can also see, as I put up more of this, you can start to see that knot of resistance, not just 2.618 from the Fibonacci retracement, but also 4 different Fibonacci extension values dropping in there, all needing to be broken in order to see this thing advance. And we could do that now that the momentum has started to cool for us. So from here, we could push up to anywhere from 127 to 130 in the very near term. Mind you, there is also, let me take those down for a moment for you, and we're going to put up for that the bull channel that we're in and the inverse head and shoulders. And when I do that, what you're more able to see for this one, especially go out to weekly chart, you'll be able to see the bull channel that we're in. You'll also be able to see this thing kind of sleepy eye smiling at you for this inverse head and shoulders on here. And I think, there we go, support and resistance raise. That ray right across there makes the neckline. We've broken it, and now we're getting an indecisive candle as per the weekly chart. And if we close out this week, because I believe that we are at the 7th day of this week, as we close out this week, it really does matter. Clicking back over at my paintbrush, once again, I promised no more snake drawings for you. If we see a candle up here, and I'm also going to color that color green, that can be a further signal of more of an uptrend. The weekly RSI sitting only at 69.63. Now, mind you, if instead of being up there, we find the candle happening to be down here instead, that can indicate to us that the next direction that we follow for the next couple of weeks could be downward instead. So we do have some support that we're sitting at. We do have some resistance that we're fighting right now. And we do want to watch to see if we do find a ceiling. Okay, well, where's the floor? How far below is it? I don't think it's too far down yet. I am net bullish on this as we are sitting in a bull channel right now. By the way, the inverse head and shoulders is pointing at a sweet little price tag of 150,000 per BTC. And if I put up some of the Fibonacci retracements and extensions on here, you can see we have a whole tangle of resistance starting at 156.90, which is just north of the inverse head and shoulders price target. And that lasts, it depends on where you want to stop this cluster. We'll say it stops here at about 155.66.7. There you go. So good thing if you're superstitious out there, you don't see it as 66.6, because that could not be necessarily as good for you. Now, Ethereum, man, oh man, I know this looks like a mess, but bear with me here. Look how much clustering we have right here between our Fibonacci extensions and our Fibonacci retracements, just north of 4,000, along with some pivots that we have over here and some trend line resistance as well. If we're able to hit 4,000 on this run, we're probably going to smack our heads given the extended nature of our buying at the moment being significantly overbought on a daily basis, and we'll probably come back and retest this resistance line here for support to see if it holds. Hopefully it does. And if we do, within 2025, we could see us up here at this next cluster, which happens to be at about 4.8 thousand per ETH. So make sure you check that out. Now, Stellar Lumens also looking very interesting here. And by the way, for this one could be shaping up to being quite the bullish pattern for us. You can see the bulls starting to gain some ground across the bottom of this. The bears holding a fairly firm top on this, right at about 52 cents per XLM for Stellar Lumens here. So let me just put in some Fibonacci retracements. So from the overall high to low for this thing, so over its history, at least being charted here as per Coinbase, there happens to be a 50% Fibonacci retracement level right at about 48 cents. And you can see at least 3 different peaks on this daily chart taking place around that. And then up there north of that, at 52 cents, well, we have this next previous high to low that we saw before the more recent one. So previous meaning the last one that we saw, and that happens to explain where we saw those tops. And if we put up the recent high to low, you can see it actually takes into account the tops of those wicks pretty much. that we have down in here as well. And so we could potentially bounce around in there. Now, if we also layer on top of that the pivots, you can see we're starting to build up quite the area of support from where we're at right now. Or if you want to count it as resistance because we've come up and we've kind of gotten stopped in it, I'm going to call these ones down. I still think there's a fair amount of support. I don't know that we'll pop out at the bottom of this yet. I'll take down the pivots just real quick because we have both of those 0.5 Fibonacci levels in there. I think they're going to catch us if we do happen to fall a little bit. And if not, we have even more down here on 34 cents up to 37. So for the near term for Stellar Lumens, it is looking like bullishness, especially if we can stay on top of the 5 EMA. And if we put up the Fibonacci extensions, we get even more entanglement, more clustering in here, if you will, causing us to have a pretty hard time after this overbought nature that you can see in the RSI. And I've talked about this before in terms of momentum, that just think of layered up panes of glass and you're firing a bullet at it and it smashes through one, doesn't seem to slow down, smashes through a second one, it's starting to mushroom out a little bit more, smashes through a third one, that bigger surface area is hitting that glass. Yeah, it might break it, but man, now it's really slow. It hits the fourth one and it embeds itself, right? Like we just lose a little bit each time without other catalysts to drive it along, by the way. You could hit those little speed boost pockets and stuff like that, and it can totally happen. But what we're getting right now for Stellar Lumens is that resting period. I'm going to consider this to be support because that's generally what we have, with only the most top part of it being that resistance. If we get rejected here and if we sell back down through and fall out, I'm going to call it the resistance that it probably should be called. I do think we're going to find this as support in here, especially on the bottom half of this. And on the top half of this, yeah, we do need to sit on top of 48 cents to have room to the upside. If we see this thing continue, we could be pushing this thing all the way up to about 75 cents per XLM, which would be the considerable upside from where it is right now. And we have some very minor pivots and minor clustering along the way. And we really have to zoom out on this thing before we can see even more of it. But as I zoom out more, you can also see where we get the tighter clusters. So it really does depend on how much of a push we get from here, how much of a cooling we get. But I do think that Stellar Lumens is one that's probably going to remain bullish if the crypto market can, and is probably going to give us some pretty big upside out of it as a result. Our friend XRP, from the descending wedge, $33.83 is the price target. This one, once again, the momentum has not totally cooled down yet. It's a little bit below the peak that it was at back on Thursday, subduing just a little bit from now. What we don't want to see is bearish divergence to the point where the prices run up, the momentum comes down, and it causes us to sell. But from this descending wedge, that's PTDW, that's price target for the descending wedge. It's how I have it coded on here. We are almost there. And if we put up some of the extensions and some of the retracements and some of the pivots on here, you can see that we start to get just a little bit. We had a bunch here, and you guys can see, just for example's sake, how we got caught up in here as we started to hit that resistance. You're like, well, Doc, what about this clustering? Well, if you look, we actually broke above it, got rejected at the next cluster that's up here. And then after that, after we got rejected that cluster, we came back down here and tested that clustered support for us before getting tangled again. And once we left that tangled area, that's where that rocket ship came in for XRP token. So I'm trying to help you understand the way that I interpret these technicals a little bit. You guys can let me know in the comments if this is helping. And if you have more questions, then we're going to talk more to me and the other panel experts, such as the Fresh Prince of Crypto, known as Crypto Will, Stockmo, and then there's others, TMF Permabulls over there that does more than just the bond side of things. Tensei 808, Small Madog is also over there. A whole panel of experts over at the Discord. Links in the description. Code word doctor when you use my link. It's going to give you a discount. Make sure you use the earner tier so you get unrestricted access to the entire ecosystem that is there to support you in your journey towards financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio and really starting to fill out your knowledge and understanding of the technicals, the crypto markets, and then also options plays. We do a ton of those over there. And there's some coursework through Stockmo Academy down below. Guys, I want to get back into the charts. So over here, for XRP, what do we got to the north of this? As we look to the north, there we go. We have some pretty major Fibonacci retracement values and some doubled up Fibonacci extension values just north of that 383. So we could push that price target before getting rejected right around that $4 mark. So $4 in the near term for XRP? Yes, please. And by the way, there's a bigger price target projected from the movement that we had based on the previous all-time high of $4.63. Once again, some more clustering that happens to be around there. And then just north of that is where we start to see that $5 mark. So maybe we can get there through with some excitement that by the end of 2025, we end up landing up here. If risk on environment sticks around for us, crypto market stays strong through the end of 2025 with maybe some hiccups in between, I still think that we end up higher for a lot of the cryptos than where we're at right now. I think we're going to get big news for crypto adoption. XRP's no exception to that as well, especially with its position to be one of the next ETFs for crypto to hit the market. That's the anticipation anyway. Solana, I wanted to put this up here because I had a lot of rectangles drawn on this one for support and resistance. And man, oh man, it's been obeying it big time when we look at this thing. We actually fell just north of the support that I have on here. But look at that resistance that we got. As soon as we got rejected there, came all the way back down, almost tested my area of support down here, came back up, rejection at resistance, and the next time we tried it, we ended up pushing on through that, getting caught up again. I said 183. We happen to sit right around that 183. 196 is that next stop that we can make, and there's probably a few other things that we can find within there that would cause that area of support and resistance to happen. North of that is when we start to get anywhere from about 218 all the way up to about 236 for Solana, and then we'll talk about AVAX here. Big old cluster of resistance as soon as we start to hit that $27 mark. We'll call it 27 to 28 on this. Now, mind you, one of the things that I like about AVAX looking at the charts is the fact that we're just getting into bullish territory as per the EMAs. And if we put up the SMAs, we could have those golden cross moments coming in the very near future for us. This thing lagging behind the rest of the crypto market and being one of the big players out there, I think that it is one that's going to break this peak, and we can potentially see those bigger numbers come out of this in the very near future. So I think that this is one that I think should absolutely be paid attention to, that is kind of at the moment not really given much credit or attention. So put all these on your list if you haven't already. You guys can let me know what you think of these cryptos down in the description and what you can think about my technical discussion that I had for you as well. And if you guys, like I said, if you want to come join the community, links in the description for that. If you want to go take the courses through Stockmo Academy for technical analysis, trading using technicals, and also trading using options, code word doctor works for that coursework as well. Bundling the courses with the code word is a match made in heaven, by the way. Guys, thanks for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you next video.